What I wanted to chat about tonight is amortization. So obviously tonight's topic is about cash flow. So how can properties cash flow? How do you find a cash flowing property? Well, obviously rental income is one side of that. What is your revenues that are coming in? But the other side of that is your expenses going out. And probably the biggest expense you're going to have is your mortgage payment. That's going to be mostly determining whether or not your property is going to cash flow again outside of rents. So amortizations, this is something a lot of people ask about. We kind of throw the word out there, but it's not necessarily something we talk about a lot. So amortization standard, when you probably hear me say that, you think is 25 years, which is normal. If you're putting down less than 20% down payment, 25 years is the max. However, if you're a first-time buyer building a new home to occupy, or if you're buying a property, regardless of the intended use, but you're putting a 20% down payment down, we can actually extend that amortization out to 30 years. So as an investor with a long-term hold strategy or a flip, even something that's super short-term, your goal isn't necessarily to pay your mortgage off as fast as possible. Rather, it's in a long-term strategy, it's cash flow. In a flip, it's avoiding CMHC fees and higher costs and higher payments during renovations. So ways to combat that is the longer amortization. And then other things, obviously the term we choose, the shorter the term, the higher the rate. Variable is higher. 5-year fix is kind of the standard lowest interest rate to keep positive cash flow. Doesn't mean it's the best option for you. That's just kind of how it works. Amortization, like I said, extending it out, and then loan amount and down payment. So obviously the lower the loan amount or the more down payment we have, the lower our mortgage payment is going to be, so the more cash flow we're going to have. So to kind of give you an idea about amortizations, let's say we buy a home for $500,000, we put $100,000 down, we have a mortgage of $400,000. On a standard 25-year amortization, your payments are about $2,336 a month. If we just make one change and all we do is extend that amortization out to 30 years, your payments go down to $2,145, which is $191 a month difference. That is a huge difference when we're talking about cash flowing and monthly expenses. So as far as amortization goes, keeping in mind here at Crew, Tim and Azad have an entire team of which also includes accountants. So writing off interest or a portion of interest on a rental property is something that you can do here in Canada. So just because you're taking a 30-year amortization, some people think, oh, but I'm paying more in interest. But really a portion of that is a write-off. And you're not the one that's making the payment. The tenants are the one that's making the payment. So that positive cash flow and not being in a negative cash flow situation every month is typically the most ideal situation to be in. And to do that 30-year amortization really, really helps. So having these conversations with your mortgage broker are really, really important, because the difference between 25 and 30 years, like I said, that 191 a month could be the difference between you jumping on a property and purchasing it and walking away from it. And we all know, if it's a good investment, again, real estate now is the time to buy, because otherwise we're going to start to see prices go up and payments go up. But something else to do for 30 years as well, a lot of people don't think about this, but if you're going to invest in properties and your goal is to purchase multiple properties, you have to qualify for these properties. So let's say you own one property, you buy a second, now you want to buy your third. Well, your payments and your cash flow on your first and second properties are going to tell us and dictate to us how much you can spend on that third property. So by putting in a 30-year amortization, not only are you helping with cash flow, but you're also keeping your payments as low as possible when we're trying to qualify to accumulate additional properties. Doing that will help us qualify. So there's multiple reasons we like 30-year amortizations, obviously if they apply to your situation, but cash flow is definitely a big one. So that's it, just to kind of touch on amortizations. If anybody has any questions about what an amortization is or how it works, or if your mortgage currently can be redone to extend out amortizations, those are all things you can definitely reach out and I can help you answer.
Oh, that's awesome, Danielle. You know what? We've got these tools in the toolbox. You might as well explore to see if you want to use them. And we always say that whatever makes the numbers work. Cash flow is king. We always say if you have to, Tim, pull money out of your back pocket to fund that investment, your days are limited as a real estate investor. So whatever we can do to make the numbers work, we're all over it.
Yeah, thanks very much, Danielle.